What up, y'all? I'm Steve with Elev8, and today we have a really special Elev8. We have Sean Otron Glass here. This is really cool. This guy has got to, blossom around me and whatnot, so it's really neat to see what this guy's done. And I'm really excited to sit down here and, show him off to the world. Really cool, super amazing dude, and just love the guy. Also, I want to mention that we have this really cool brand ambassador program, Elev8ambassadors.com. It's great for girls and guys. You can be an Elev8 doll or an Elev8 gent. Big thing is you're helping to support Elev8 and get our vision and our dream out there. We also have Elev8 Veterans. It's a 501c3, and it's a really cool way to help veterans that helped us, with our country and whatnot, and get them some stuff to help them out. Anyways, let's roll into this. It's a super pleasure to have Sean Otron here. I'm Steve with Elev8, and this is
Sean.
And we're here today with an Elev8, and really excited about this one. Sean's been with us for 10 years? 8 years. Feels like 10. I don't know if it's 5, 8 years. I get to work next to the guy every day, and it's been really, really neat adventure. So just going into this, it's a little bit different. Usually I'm out there interviewing people that I don't know.
Yep.
But so I know these answers, but this ain't about me.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't. You're fans. They don't know all that stuff. So first question is, how did you get into this stuff?
I needed a job.
All right.
And you hired me.
Right. And it wasn't even for glass.
It wasn't even glass. It was to build these things.
Right, right.
You did warehouse workers, and 40 hours a week sounded good to me. So I got hired.
Yeah, and that was 8 years ago, and then
that was 10 years ago.
10 years, okay.
So I was at the warehouse for about 2 years.
Oh wow.
Doing.
See, I don't even remember all that.
Doing
stuff.
everything from wiring them. I did discs my first day, putting together discs. And then by the time I left the warehouse, I was doing sublimations and building LSVs and doing all that cool stuff.
And so when you started, I don't think we even did sublimation. That was a process that came on.
That was happening when I was like, within my
Starting.
first few months. I remember you back there with the oven and like trying to figure out stuff and all the different concoctions of how to get those things with the graphics. So yeah.
It's been an adventure, that's for sure. And so what was the first stuff that you started with in like blowing glass?
Marbles,
Marbles.
vortex marbles.
Yeah. You still make those?
Yeah, not really.
Not
Not as
really.
much as I would like to.
Yeah, it's like everything. You get in there and it's like there's so much to do.
Yeah, and I hit them hard for a long time because that was the only thing I really knew. And I was getting good results, so I just kept doing it. But then eventually, as your skills grow, the stuff you started with kind of like gets put on the back.
Yeah, that's pretty neat though, the vortex. And then Sean Otron, how did you get your glass name?
The guys, I think it was McLaughlin was the first one to call me Sean Otron, and I thought it was cool. I didn't want to give myself a nickname. So,
It's not,
you don't
nicknames are given.
Yeah, and I liked that one, so I figured I'd go with that one before something else that I didn't like would be stuck. So, yeah, that one sounded cool, and so just kind of went with it.
Right on, I like it. It's sounds like, the Transformers.
Yeah, like an Irish Transformer kind of.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. And then, so yeah, you've been on the torch 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is something I usually ask towards the end of it, but do you find after this 8 years you still have the same passion today as when you first got into this? Same, different?
Yeah, probably more, because like that at the beginning, it wasn't like blowing glass was something that I was, focused on doing with my life. I never really actually thought about it before.
Right.
Like I'd seen pieces and I thought it was cool, and I knew people blew glass, but it was never something that was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So at the beginning, I was just trying to learn.
Right.
So yeah, if anything, my passion is built more because now I have a skill set that I can, refine, and it's probably more important to me now than it was back then, because
Right.
I didn't really know much back then other than to just keep going with it, I guess.
And keep talking about back then, and that's the thing, just even in our little world that we've done, our teaching abilities have grown. So what took years to teach you, we can
Yep.
teach in a year or less.
And I
now.
see that all the time with Nick and Adam, and
And you're a part of that.
Yeah.
But you can teach
well,
things.
because I can remember this is how it was like when I was learning, and then this is all the different things we learned throughout the time, and now that I'm teaching it, I can.
And that's all what you shouldn't be doing
Much more,
anymore.
yeah, it's always, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, do it like this.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. I know this is a question too. Like, do you have a mentor now? Do you have somebody you look up to? I know you've definitely found your kind of your ownness of Sean with your Starry Night stuff and your dot stack, and that I see both themes, those techniques are actually quite unique to you. So do you have a mentor for that stuff, or is you just go out and through stuff and
I just kind of I didn't see much of it being done closely around me, so that's kind of what attracted me to that. Was I didn't want to jump on a style that someone else was really going good on,
Right.
and then just kind of trying to ride on their tails. I wanted to kind of do something that was cool, but also something that was a little bit more unique to me, at least in our smaller group.
Right, yeah. Because I mean, there's Instagram now, but there wasn't back then. So-
No, and everything you would see was either, in our head shop up front, there was tons and tons of wigwag stuff, tons and tons of line tubing stuff, lots of alien skin type of stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of dot stack stuff, a little bit of like marbling stuff, but
Not really.
not as much as some of the other techniques. So that's kind of why I went that way. It's like, I don't see as much of this stuff, so I'm going to try to get into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I've done some, line work and some switch ball stuff. But yeah, just kind of trying to keep a little more on the unique side.
Yep. Classes. I asked that. Have you taken any classes?
Not official classes, but I've gotten a lot of,
Yeah.
You want to see me do this? I'm about to, how many times have you just been like, I'm going to do a switch ball. You can watch if you want.
Yeah.
Which, people out there pay for that. I luckily didn't have to.
Right.
I just got to watch it, or go watch Jeff do it, or, So yeah, I've had a lot of classes, but maybe not official, where I paid to be there, which I'm
Right.
very fortunate for that.
Classes, like I do want to mention that, you're one of the guys that built up our liquid arts classes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you haven't taken a whole lot of paid classes. You've gotten lessons.
I've definitely been
But
on the
you've
teaching
given.
side of much more classes that I've taken, for sure.
And do you feel that helped grow you as an artist and as your skill set? Or-
Absolutely, especially at the time. I mean, I don't know, I was probably only 2-3 years on the torch when I started teaching classes myself. So it was kind of scary, like, do I even have any business teaching a class?
Right.
But, mostly beginner classes. I knew how to make a marble round by that time, and I knew how to do some stuff. But yeah, it totally did make me better, because you have to figure out why you do the things you do and communicate that to your student. Why are we
Right.
doing this? Because we need this to happen.
And different students think
And
differently.
different students think different, and yeah, so sometimes I'd be doing a class and I'd say, this is why we do this, and then it would click in my own head, like, oh, I just learned that too. Like, I knew it, but I didn't really know it until I taught it.
Right.
And then it clicked, and then it was like, then I'd go to the torch after the class, and things would make much more sense. So, yeah, I learned just as much as I did teaching,
Yeah.
I think.
That's what I hear a lot from people that do teach, is they almost learn more by teaching than getting a class. A class opens up a new smell,
Yes.
but teaching refines.
Yes, and it forces you to, why? Why do you do what you do?
Right.
Why?
And why is the biggest thing, I think, in all of life? Why?
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are we here? That's the
Because
question.
you can
right?
say, you just do that. You can show me the steps. You do this. You do this. You do this. But I want to know, why do you do it like that? Like what?
There's a reason.
There's reasons you make your dot this big, or you whatever.
Right.
Those are what I want to know.
Yeah.
The science behind what is the glass doing? What does the glass need to do? We're doing this because the glass needs something. It needs to be done in a certain way.
The why.
The why.
Figuring out
Exactly.
the why. Yeah, that's big stuff. Where do you get the inspiration and creativity for your stuff?
Probably nature.
Nature. Do you? That's what I mentioned that. Usually I ask what kind of hobbies you have. I do know you on a smaller personal level, but what are all your hobbies? I know you are big outdoors.
Definitely hiking and camping. Anything outside. I love sports too. Playing sports. I mean, I'm a little older now. I haven't played sports in a long time, but I used to love, rec hockey, rec softball, stuff like that. But mostly nature and just colors and nature, shapes.
And haven't you climbed a whole bunch of 14ers too?
Yeah, I do love 14ers. Yes.
Yeah, I always, I've been here my whole life and look at that one up there, and I'm such a puss. And here I see this guy next to me just climbing them and everything. So
They're awesome. It kind of goes along with the sport. It's that personal challenge.
it's just you against you.
Yep.
Right.
I can do it. Living in Colorado Springs, like you said, you're looking up at Pikes Peak all the time. So it's always cool to look up and be like, I've climbed that. I've
Right.
done the whole thing with my feet.
How many times have you done it?
Pikes Peak a lot. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's so close.
Right.
Most of the other ones, I haven't done them all, but I've got a good 15 or 20 of them in my belt. There's like 50 some in the state.
That's
so-
crazy. That's crazy. That's neat. Did you have any periods in your glass where you shifted, like maybe you were doing production to you were doing more something like this, and I guess what caused that transition?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I tend to like kind of get into like streaks of different stuff. I'll get on Sherlock's for a while, and then I'll kind of be like, I want to switch with the bubblers or
Right.
something different. Or like that. At the beginning, it was a lot of marbles, a lot of vortex marbles, because that was the only thing I was making that was like looking cool and giving me cool results.
Yeah.
Until-
Vortex has always been cool.
Yeah. So, and they were a great way to learn colors and
Yeah.
heat saturation and control everything. So I feel like they were a really good teacher. Marbles are a good teacher anyways, but I feel like vortex marbles
Yeah.
are a really, really good teacher.
I agree. I love marbles. Marbles, like, they go on everything.
They go on everything. Yeah. They
You-
teach you that basic foundation of
Is it hot enough?
you
Is
got
it
to
not
get
hot
stuff
enough?
hot, because that's everything I've ever taught anybody making marbles is they're never getting it. They need to learn that heat saturation.
Right.
And once they learn that, you can see it open up for them once they've understood that I've got to get this so completely saturated hot that it's going to turn it into a ball. Then when they go to do other stuff, that's where they learn that.
Right. So yeah, we got some of these pipes out here, and this is the technique that I really think is so neat. And this right here, it's I call it Starry Nights.
A lot of people do.
I don't know what else to call it. I've never seen anything out there. I got to make a few things with it, and it is freaking cool. Like it's Van Gogh in a pipe, or Van Gogh in a rig, or Van Gogh like, I don't know what you've done, but you figured out how to get the swirls with the stars in it, and I don't know. It's really, really cool. I love it.
It's fun to make, and I like how you can repeat it, but it's never the same.
Right.
You can use the same colors, but
And you still do
it's
different
never the same.
colors.
I do
Seems
all
like.
kinds of different combinations, color combinations. That's one of the fun things about it too. Is
There's lots of
what
depth
these
to it.
color works with this, and these four colors work great together, and then I can add this color or take away a color, and
Right.
it changes it completely.
Sandblasted,
Sandblasted, shiny. Yep.
It's all just so unique, so neat.
Yeah. And people started. I never set out to make it look like Starry Night or you know, I've always loved Van Gogh. I've always loved it, but like,
Right.
I wasn't trying to do that. And then I did it, and people were like, "Oh, that looks like Starry Night." And then I've heard it every time somebody sees it. It's the first thing they say.
It absolutely
So it's just kind of
is.
like, after a while, I was like, okay, well, I must be like hitting that Starry Night nerve with people because everybody is telling me. So,
Right. That's neat. You
I'll
didn't
keep
even
going.
create it for what you wanted. You just found
no,
a technique.
I
that
don't
you
even
liked.
know. I think I was just kind of messing around, just trying to. I think I was trying to mix. You know, mixing paint, you mix red and blue, and you get purple.
Right.
I think I was trying to do that back before. You know,
But
in
it
my-
doesn't really mix
in my
like
early
that.
days. I was trying to like, but that's where it came from. I was getting it so liquid and just like trying to smear it together and really get that red and that blue to turn into purple. But it didn't. But it did that instead,
Right.
which turned out to be even cooler. So
I find that's a neat thing with glasses. Like, you know, it's got its solid properties, it's got its liquid properties. Yet even when it's liquid, it doesn't behave like a liquid. You mix a water and any food dye together, that water's no longer clear.
Exactly. There's not small. Yeah, I love how the blue stays. No matter how thin you get that little string of blue, it stays
In
blue.
the string.
And
Yeah.
that red string next to it stays red, and the green one stays green. No matter how small and stretched they get, they keep that. They never mix, which is cool. Which
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
I still don't understand, like, why is it not happening? Like,
Yeah,
why aren't you, like, moving atoms? Because you're liquid. Why aren't you just...
Yeah, they never. Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool, yeah. Glass is just, it's neat. What are your favorite items to blow?
Probably Sherlock's, 2-piece Sherlock's.
Yeah, they're
I
neat.
just think they look cool. They look cool to smoke. They look cool when they're sitting there. They just got a lot of personality. There's a lot of different styles of Sherlock inside of itself. You know, there's
Yeah.
the really Sherlock Holmes looking Sherlocks. There's the skinny ones. There's the little ones. There's super graceful looking ones. So
It's almost endless. You
it
can
really is.
look a Sherlock pipe up and they have all, like,
yeah,
clip
there's-
art. And
there's just so many.
and that's only those particular ones that have been, say, documented.
Yeah.
And the rest is whatever you want. Like, yeah, I like Sherlock's too. What's your favorite color to work with?
I don't know. I love colors. Like that's like just in like paint or markers or pastels. I just love colors and colors going together. So I wouldn't say maybe one color, but I love color combos. Like the way two colors can make each other look way
Right.
cooler or different than they do by themselves.
Yeah. So that's you'll always try to go to
So
two colors then.
Yeah,
So-
or some combo of 2 to 3 colors. It's usually the first thing I think about if I want to make a new piece. I don't necessarily think I'm gonna make a Sherlock or I'm gonna make a bubbler or whatever. I think I'm gonna make a blue and yellow, or like this what I want. I want to do blue and green.
Right,
And then I'll be like, well, I'm not gonna be a blue. Sherlock is gonna be a blue.
It'll morph later.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the color combo.
Right.
I really want to see that those two colors go together. And if they don't look so that cool, then maybe I'll just leave it and make a pendant. And like,
Right, you don't go too far
I
into
won't go
it.
too far. But like on that piece, I love the way the blue and the green went together. So, you know, I'm gonna make a full piece or start a whole collab based around those two colors.
Right.
Because that's the first thing we do when we collab.
Yeah.
What color was we using?
Right.
And we stand around
Right.
for an hour thinking about what colors go good together. What colors go good together.
Because that's where we're really everything does. The complement, the colors complement. Do they contrast? And contrasting and complementary, they can both work together.
Mhm.
But sometimes, if they're kind of complementary, they don't work together.
No, dot stacks. Like you have to have contrasting colors. Because those colors have to stand. If you use two complementary colors, one of those colors is going to kind of go away.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
work
and your stack kind of just looks kind of washed out. But if you choose colors that completely contrast, or two colors that you wouldn't even think go together, they end up going together the best.
Right.
You know, brown and pink. Brown, pink, and white make a great. That's a
They
weird
do.
combo.
You wouldn't think brown
You
and
wouldn't
pink would
think,
go.
but brown and pink, you put them together, and like on the dot stack, and they look great together.
They do.
But
They do.
people would say, "Oh, brown and pink." Yes. And then you throw white in there, and you have like Neapolitan ice cream.
Right.
It's a really cool color combo.
Yeah. What color do you not like? blacks?
I don't think there's any colors I don't like. I mean, I don't use unobtainium on the inside, but I love the color.
Yeah, and
It's not the color I don't like, it's the
compatibility.
Yeah, I guess like, but even like cadmiums, they're hard to work with, but I still love them. They
Right.
still look great.
They're easy to work when they're in line too because they're protected.
Yeah.
When they're out by their lonesome, you gotta dance with them.
Yep. But that's what I learned from making surfer parts.
Right.
Making knobs. Is
The knobs help
how
out
to
with that
work
real
with cherry and canary and white, and
Right.
Especially cherry, pushing
Pushing the cherry because
cherry up cherry base.
that's hard because you got to get not much heat into it, and it's got to be juicy enough to work.
Yeah, you got to get hot enough,
Right.
but not too hot, but hot enough to be pushed, and then not boil it.
Yeah, I don't always necessarily think about all those challenges because you guys are doing them. I don't have to do them as much, but yeah, those are big challenges when you got to make a beautiful red bottom or a beautiful, yellow bottom. Those colors will bite you.
They sure
So,
will.
yeah. What do you consider the most challenging style or piece that you do now?
I guess just anything more complicated. Rigs or anything. You got multiple welds and
Just keep adding to it.
yeah, those pieces they're big, they're heavier, they've got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah.
More challenging than just a spoon. But there was a day where a spoon was a super challenge too.
Yep, yep. So I guess each next part kind of is your next challenging part when
Yeah.
you're ready to take that next
But there's
step.
also like the little challenges that never go away, and sometimes it's challenging to just as you get better, you got to stay perfect. It's challenging to do a perfect dot stack and nail all of those dots.
It's why I don't do dot stack because it's hard.
It's still challenging, and a lot of times I'll get halfway through one and something's not right, and that's
Right.
frustrating because you can do it, you've done it before, but this particular one
Something
just didn't come out.
Yeah.
And that can be frustrating, and that's challenging. It's kind of getting over that hump. So it's not even anything new or crazy that you haven't done. Sometimes it's challenging to just keep your
knowing
level,
all the steps.
stay at a high level
Right.
without dropping down.
Yeah.
Can be challenging too.
That's a good point. I like that. That is a good point. Do you collaborate often?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we try to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty neat place where we're at.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to collab where we're at.
Yeah. I think a lot of stuff is mostly somehow collabs what we're doing, whether it's production stuff or individual stuff. Once it's individual, it's like, hey, you want to do this? It's production stuff. You're still working with somebody.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And it's so easy like that. I have Adam next to me making those little leaves. It's so tempting every time he makes a cool one. I just want to be like, hey, give it to me. I can see where you're coming from because you used to do it to me all the time.
Yeah,
I'd
it's just
make a
neat.
dot stack, like, oh, what are you gonna do with that? Can I let me have that? I'll put it on a piece, and then
I always wait for you to get somewhere, and if it's not going anywhere, I'm like, I'm gonna ask for that piece. Like,
yeah,
because it is. It's not that you don't want to do the stuff, but you do want to do it, and you're like, you've already found the color palette.
Yeah, and that looks cool, and I want to put it on the side of one of my pieces.
Right.
So yeah, it's really easy to collab there, especially with when you get along with everybody.
Yeah.
You want to work with other people. It makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier.
I definitely feel blessed where we're at. What's the most amount of time you've ever spent on a single piece?
I try not to think about time.
Yeah, you could get lost in there.
Because it doesn't, it does, but it doesn't really matter. It's got to take what it takes.
Right.
So,
It does.
I don't know, probably 8-9 hours maybe? I don't know.
That's a long time though on a
Yeah.
piece before, and one piece could be a tiny little piece. You put 2 or 3 hours into it, and then it's putting all those pieces
Yep,
together. And
yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
fuck, man.
Sometimes a bubbler will have 2 or 3 dot stacks in it. those 3 dot stacks are about an hour a piece,
Right.
just to get the stacks, and then you put them in, and then build the
As long as you
piece.
got 3 dot
Yeah.
stacks
Yeah.
right in the first.
Well, and that's hard too, because to make 3 matching dot stacks, usually you have to make 4, and then choose your best 3, and then you have that extra one that just sits off your station for a while.
That's a neat point you just mentioned there, is that sometimes, to get 3 you'll make 4. I find that a lot. Like if you need 2 on a finger, I'll make 5, 4, but 5 or 6 fingers to get the 4
And then
fingers.
you have to choose the best 4. Yep.
Right.
I do that all the time. It's on tentacles, especially 3 tentacles for a base. You want them all the 3 to match.
Right.
And never, ever, ever do my first 3 match. 2 of them will match, and then that third one will look a little weird.
And then you can use that for a pendant,
And
or
then
you
I
can
do
use
it
it for
or give it to
another
somebody
thing.
else, and they'll, or you can put it on.
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
jet. Like, hey, it's a collab now.
Right.
So, but yeah, I found that it's a time-consuming thing too when you try to do stuff. Is a lot of times you got to do multiple.
Yeah, and that's hard. Just nailing the same thing over and over is actually really, really.
It really is.
It really is hard, no doubt.
Especially even if you stand there and do 1, 2, 3. I made all 3 of them within an hour, and 2 of them came out the exact same, and 1 just looks completely different.
Right.
So.
And it's even crazy when it's your third one coming out looking different than your first and second one. You're like, I just did 2.
I just did 2 of them. Yeah, I felt like I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I really tried to, but here it is looking different.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy shit. Have you ever competed in any events?
Nothing really official. No, I did the DBK chili cook-offs.
Oh, yeah. Those are always a lot
This
of fun.
one actually got 2nd place. That was the first time I ever got recognized. Which
Hell
was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never done like champs or anything else like that.
Small ones. We got a battle top.
Oh yeah, we do battle tops.
And
I did have a killer battle top.
Hit professional 2 years in a row. I think
2 years. Yeah.
you held that. So that was pretty neat.
That was pretty cool. Tops are cool.
Not quite the same competition or event that some people might think, but they're fun. They're neat.
They are
They're
fun.
little shit talking things too when you're playing. All right, well, that I get to hang out with Sean every day, so I know the guy pretty well. But it was great sitting down here because I don't get to have those conversations. Just kind of, the history of what it's been, and it's just really awesome. I know I'm blessed. Elev8 is blessed. 7-4, the past 7-4, the whole vaporizer. Blessed to have Sean on board, and just having a guy like that who's helped the entire process and everything throughout the whole thing is just awesome. So go check him out. He is making some really cool stuff. So check it out, support him, and whatnot. Also, want to throw it out there, we have Elev8, brandambassador.com. Check it out. You can be an Elev8 doll or an Elev8 gents, and it's a really cool way to help us grow. We also have 501c3 Elev8 veterans. Check that out. It's a really cool way to help out some veterans. Anyways, stay elevated and elevate mind, body, spirit.